Hello, my name is Ryan Bennis, and I'm with Elite Ag Insurance. I am very excited to show you all a little bit about ECO today. You are going to hear a ton about ECO in the crop insurance world over the next few months, and I'm going to show you why. You can see my information on the screen here. Feel free to reach out here because later on there's an opportunity to get some history about ECO specific to your county. So hang on here and we will get rolling. All right, so what do you need to know about ECO? First of all, it's become very widely accessible. Okay, and we'll talk about why that is here in a second. Secondly, it's a very high coverage level of 95%. That means it pays often and it doesn't take a large loss to pay. And then the third thing is it just became much more affordable. There was a subsidy change that went into effect in the late part of the summer that will be in effect for the spring crops for 2025. And because of that, it's become a lot more affordable. So let's get going. All right. So the first thing is, why is it so much widely accessible versus some of the other high level plans out there? One is it is not dependent on your underlying level, meaning I could have 85%, or I could have 75, or I could have 50% level. So I don't have to be at those high levels of insurance in order to buy this. ECO itself is a band of coverage. It's a 9% or 4, but we usually use the 9% band of coverage from 95% down to 86, and it is based off of a county expected yield, county final yield, or area depending on where you're at, but usually we're talking about a county. And then we also use the same crop insurance spring and fall prices that we would typically use for our corn and soybeans. The second reason that it's more widely accessible is because the rates are not hugely different. Like in the revenue protection policy, that's 80% in Iowa, might be $10. In North Dakota, it might be $45. That is not how ECO works. We're talking about very small differences in the price. So if it's $15 in Iowa, it's probably about $15 in North Dakota. There's going to be some variances, but you get the point. This is an example of how often ECO would trigger, or some of the scenarios in which ECO would trigger. Obviously, the first one being if the county yield is below 95% of where we started or what the expected yield was, that's going to trigger a payment. But because ECO is such a high level, it also triggers often just off of price drops alone. So if we assume that we have a county that has a 220 bushel expected yield and a 440 price, what you're looking at here in this table of the fall prices, 420, $4, 380, you're seeing the yield the county would have to have or better to not get a claim. Okay. So even with just a small 20 cent price drop, basically if we have anything below average yields, we're going to start to trigger an ECO payment. And you can see as we get into the 380, 360 range, you're talking about this county probably having to have a record yield in order to not get a payment. So here's a specific county in Iowa, and I can tell you this is not atypical. This is typical as far as the results here. Okay. So in 2024, the cost per acre of ECO was $25.25. It's only going to be about 15. That's because of the subsidy change. So it became more affordable. In the last 24 years, not including 2024, we don't have that year yet. There were payments made in 11 of those 24 years in Pocahontas County for corn. The average of those payments, including the years it didn't pay, was almost $31 an acre. This is typical. This is not just Iowa. This is not just corn. This is all crops, all states, all counties have very similar history to this. There's some exceptions again, but that's very similar here. So don't think that you're ineligible because you're in a place that doesn't usually get these higher levels of coverage. And don't think that because it works in Pocahontas County, it doesn't work in your county. We have history on every county in the nation. So if you want to take a look at what it looks like specific to your area or a specific crop, reach out and we can get you that information. Last slide here. This is an opportunity, right? It's a subsidy change where we have high levels of insurance that are becoming more affordable in a time where we need better coverage, right? Commodity prices are going the wrong direction. ECO should be a part of not just your insurance plan, but it should be part of your marketing plan as well. And there's ways that we can do that at Elite Ag that many other agencies simply cannot. There are lots of new strategies that can be deployed, not just with insurance and grain marketing, but putting them together. And even just in the insurance world, there's a lot of fun things we can do, not just with ECO, but with some private products that go with it as well. So reach out if you want to take a look at your county's history. My phone number and email are right there. Appreciate you watching and look out for more information on ECO.